Hey everybody, welcome back to World of Warships Legends. In this replay we are queued up in the Tier 5 Imperial Navy, the Fuso. I actually had recently purchased this just to complete some stuff in the Bureau, so like normally you guys have all seen my channel and are familiar with what I play. I'm mainly an American tech tree guy, but there are some exceptions. I do play outside of the American tech tree quite a lot, actually, believe it or not. I just don't upload many videos on them because I'm not the greatest in them. That's why, I'll be honest. I don't really get any YouTube-worthy clips. Look at this Nuremberg. This is just stupidity at its finest right here. I just popped my spotter plane. The Nuremberg is basically like the German Pensacola. It's just a floating citadel of sadness. Everybody knows that. So look at that. Double hit the citadel. A dev strike, first blood, 27,000 damage already in the first minute and a half in the match. So that's just, you hate to see it. So, this video is going to be a little bit different than most, not in terms of damage or anything, but I'm mainly uploading this clip for a discussion. So speaking of the dude that chose to sail around broadside, oh, hang on a second, we have two here. Because I shot most of the mountain because I'm an idiot. But, oh, A hit the citadel right there. See if we can't finish him off here before we start giving our question and opinion answers here. Alright, there's Omaha again. He's likely to pick up spot here. He's gonna shoot or something and be stupid. Okay, whatever. But speaking of which, I wanted to know everybody's opinion on matchmaking. So I don't know if anybody watches other YouTubers here on this game, but like, you know, Peak and Spartan and AA Ron and T-Bull. As we get our second dev strike there, double hit the Citadel, up to 63k damage. But what is everybody's opinions on matchmaking as far as your teammates go? You know, for me, one of the biggest things that I've noticed watching other content creators, I really can't consider myself a content creator. You know, I'm just not nearly as consistent as they are, nor do I have the volume of views. But the big content creators, I should say, if you guys pay attention to their teammates or who they're playing against, it's almost embarrassing sometimes, you know, because most of those guys like Peak and Spartan, they're somewhere between like the 60% and 70% win rates, and basically they play against people that sail around like this Omaha here, or they have teammates that play identical to that, you know, that just sail around all willy-nilly, and it almost makes you question, you know, I know there's no skill-based matchmaking in this game, as if like it's Call of Duty, but you know, I figured there was some sort of pool that kind of put you in the same tier of win rates per se. We just melted the Fubuki, but we're totally gonna eat a couple torps here, so yeah, we take 3 because I'm on AI. But some of the biggest things I've seen is, you know, their teammates dying within a minute and a half of the game, or even less than that, you know. And even for me, you know, I'm nowhere near that 70% win rate, you know. I'm just your average win rate person. So even I have games where, you know, I do something dumb and I die within the first like 2-3 minutes of the match. Like it happens to us. You know, everybody's had that issue at least once or twice. But I've been noticing a growing trend here where there's so many people that I queue up against or queue up with that die, you know, within the first minute of the match and just get absolutely no XP. So it's almost like impossible. Like you can land one shell and get more than 0 XP. But I've noticed that a lot recently. Last night I was playing a whole lot of Tier 7, and I lost 7 Tier 7 matches in a row. And you could argue, oh, maybe Al was throwing, or maybe he wasn't playing his behalf, which is a solid case. I I didn't have any gameplay to kind of to back the statement. Um, but I was playing a lot of the Kansas yesterday, a lot of the Massachusetts and Alabama, a lot of the Tier 7 American BBs. And, I feel like on my behalf, I'm doing my part, in my honest opinion. I wasn't damage chasing, I wasn't throwing. I played my flank. I, sunk as many ships as I could in my flank. I even got caps or assist caps, and I have these destroyer players or cruiser players or battleship players. We'll break it down to the tier here, or the category of ship. So I've been noticing a lot with the destroyer players is that a lot of them in the higher tiers, you could totally tell that they just bought that ship because they are damage chasing like crazy. I all last night, most of the destroyer players I had didn't even care about the objectives or spotting for anybody. They just chased a battleship all the way out to the map limits and tried continuously torping, which is ultimately why most of the matches I ended up losing. I mean, I had no spotting, no support from a destroyer, so as the RGA of battleship spotting destroyers just isn't there, especially if you're running double concealment. I mean, some people get their concealment down to like 4.8 with the right build. So, and then on top of that, it depends on what kind of torps they have and the spotting abilities of the torps. Most of them you don't even spot till they're a kilometer off your bow. But anyways, that's kind of been like the big trend with destroyer players that I've noticed a lot more recently, that a lot of them just they don't even care about the objectives anymore, which almost defeats the purpose of objectives, because this argument could go either way. Some people could say the objectives are dumb because you could cap all three and then not shoot a shell the entire match, which is a fair argument, right? But that's kind of the point. So if you look in the perspective of wargaming, putting the captures in there gives you something to do other than shoot shells, right? Because you could either play sink 'em all or play the objectives. And if you're not able to sink them all, then that's kind of the plan B, if you will, to win the game. And a lot more recently, I've noticed a lot of destroyer players they just don't care about the objectives or supporting any teammates. They just take off, abandon your flank right away. They're so worried about getting torp damage. And the thing is, in a destroyer, you don't need 100,000 damage to get 3,000 XP games. I mean, I've seen some people have like 20,000 damage, but because of the amount of solo caps or defense or spotting medals that they've had, have had more base XP than battleship players with 150k damage. Like it's just that simple, And I'm not even a DD player, and I'm essentially breaking it down on how easy it is to get XP. I mean, you don't have to get 200,000 damage games in destroyers in order to really be good here. Now moving on to the cruisers. Cruisers have been playing in a very similar way here. Either YOLOing in, especially the ones with the torpedoes, usually YOLOing in, trying to just whale and get as much damage as possible. Either that, or I've noticed a lot of cruisers backlining. I get it, cruisers don't have the armor scheme of most battleships. I wasn't originally going to take this kill for starters. I was going to let him finish him off, but our team failed to do that, and then I wanted a Kraken. So there's the Kraken. I totally stole the kill. Sorry, teammate. Don't report me. I love you. But you can see here the enemy DDs here they have to play sink 'em all at this point. There's really no. You could go cap objectives, but there's just not enough time at this point. I mean, there really is, but my teammates are all too sprawled out. One of my cruisers about to cap A, so this match was not a great example so much of the YOLOing and stuff. But anyway, I'm getting distracted here. The cruisers, YOLOing in or just sitting there way at the map barrier, you are no help to your team out there. Even if you're a fire starter, with the nerf to will to rebuild, a lot of BBs are running fight fire with fire. You know, at least maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but that's one of the big things I transitioned to with the nerf of will to rebuild, because we all know Wargaming had I don't know if it was a silent buff or whatever, but HE shells are exponentially better than they used to be. Let's just say that. And you get set on fire like crazy, even with certain camos and running certain captains that reduce your chances of getting set on fire. You still get set on fire, you know, double or tripled, you know. So the nice thing about fight fire with fire is limiting your fires to 3, and then, you know, if you're on DC and you get triple fired, it automatically terminates all the fires, which is huge, you know, for these HE spammers. But the big thing about these cruisers are, especially last night, man, it was just, I was playing with Duramax, and we were having quite a bit of fun on our behalf, and there was like so many matches where we totally should have won had our team been involved in the game. And I hate to be that person to be like, oh, you know, we're way better than our team, and our team does nothing, but that was truly the case last night. And even the past couple of nights playing, I just had teammates that are just not even involved. They're just so worried about damage chasing. And in this sense here, chasing down this destroyer is honestly a bad play for all of us, because I mean, look at how much we're up. I mean, you could argue right now that all of us are throw behavior because, you know, we're just trying to finish them off. But essentially all we're doing here is trying to not extend the match, and that's kind of where the Visby's at there too. He realizes like this match is over, so he just opens his guns, right? Regardless, you know, that's what a lot of the cruiser players are doing. They're just like running away, not supporting, you know, especially the ones with the radars and the sonars. Like, you are a huge asset to battleship players, because you can spot, you know, everything that's camping in smoke. You know, you're not helpful to me if I'm in B and there's somebody smoked up in B, and then you're all the way at the map limits. You know, you pop your radar, how does that benefit me? You know, and I hate to sound selfish there, but that's essentially what you are. You're a support ship, and that's what they're not doing, is supporting. You know, and again, guys, this is not complaining about wargaming at all. You know, it's not their fault. You know, it's just players that clearly don't understand how the game works, you know. So don't sit here and flame wargaming. It's really not their fault, you know. And then on to battleships, you know. Increasing amount of battleships have been at the map limit. You know, I get it. You have the range to shoot from out there, but you do realize the spread of shells at 19 kilometers. You know, you're not going to hit, if you're in a ship that's got, you know, a potential to land 12 shells, you're not going to land all 12 from 20 kilometers out. It just doesn't happen. Let's all be realistic here and stop being optimistic. You know, it doesn't happen unless you're popping spotter planes. Let's be real. So that's how that goes. You know, the BBs that all the way at the edge of the map, like not doing anything, or they abandon your flank and get YOLO torped right off the bat. You know, especially the BBs that are secondary mains. Holy cow! Like, you know, it's kind of cool to see the amount of firepower from the secondaries, but quite annoying at the same time when that's all they do. They just rush into a cap and sit there and just to get secondary hits. Like, secondaries do not really win you the game. Let's just be real here. So that's kind of my issue with the BB captains here. But that's pretty much it. You know, I'm not really complaining per se. All I'm asking here is the community's response to that. Do you guys notice the same things happening in your game? You know, what's a way we could change the aspect of the game? But on the last topic here, I don't know if anybody saw the World of Warships Discord. They did officially, I don't know officially, but they silently announced the introduction of clans, you know, fleets per se. I'm actually quite excited about it. I think it's going to add a whole new level of competition, because you're going to have your serious fleets and your fleets that just screw around. But look at that, 3,000 base XP. Anyways, yeah, let me know your opinions in the comments, and maybe we'll make more discussion videos. But that's going to be it for this one. I'll catch you guys in the next video.